Welcome to the 6:15 news with me, Kejang Henry at Tembe, our top stories. Cholera hits Yaoundé after 6 months of recess. 2 persons are reported to have died, while some other cases are in different hospital facilities in the nation's political capital. And demolition galore sends 38 families on the streets of Douala as they scamper for refuge amid the arrival of heavy rains. Top stories. Thanks and welcome to journalist. I'm Kejang Henry Atimbe. Cholera outbreak has been declared in Yaoundé, Cameroon's political capital, as 2 persons have been reported dead. Other cases are already under treatment in different medical facilities in Yaoundé. Medical officials have prescribed immediate action for people to rush to the hospital in case they have excessive diarrhea. Now let's get the situation at the Njongolo Health District with our Yaoundé chief correspondent, Beatrice Ngamo.
The new wave of cholera in Yaoundé is coming after some 5 months of calm. The bacterial disease usually spread through contaminated water, causing severe diarrhea and dehydration, is back with the rains. And majority of cases are easily handled if the patients are immediately rushed to hospital. As seen here, with close to 40 patients receiving treatment at the Njongolo District Hospital in Yaoundé.
Une des maladies, quand on vient vite à l'hôpital, on en guérit.
Failure to do so can be fatal. This far, 2 deaths have been registered. One in the community and the other in hospital. Measures are in place to contain the spread. The floor of treatment wards constantly disinfected, using one way to get in and the other way to go out. Like movements, all that leaves the patient's bodies either washed well at the hospital or burnt in order not to spread home. Protection goes with the respect of basic hygienic rules. Regular washing of hands with soap and clean water, use of hand gel.
Pour boire l'eau potable, il faut se laver les mains, laver les légumes.
Vaccination, another important weapon.
Comme on dit au Cameroun, et c'est juste des gouttes qu'on met dans la bouche.
Respecting the hygienic rules, especially during this rainy season, committed action, early medical attention, important to stay far from the about 200 deaths registered during the outbreak last year.
Thanks very much, Beatrice Ngamo. And the much talked universal health care or health coverage in Cameroon is gradually gaining steam and moving to fruition as it was launched, or since it was launched in the month of April 2023. And so far, 13,000 people are known to have enrolled for the universal health coverage card that will permit them to have treatment in different facilities.
From 420,000 francs CFA or more spent annually on dialysis by kidney patients, they will henceforth disburse just 15,000 francs CFA for dialysis. This within phase 1 of the universal healthcare coverage in Cameroon, with 6,000 francs CFA, pregnant women and newborn babies in the far north, Adamawa, east and south regions will also have access to healthcare. But the concerns will need a universal healthcare card to have access to treatment. This could be obtained either by enrolling online in an identified fixed enrollment post or in a mobile post.
When you have an application, you can register offline.
When?
In the Cameroon health coverage application, when you take this application in your phone, you can register even you are offline. For the villages, we have a mobile strategy, and we have the staff who went to the village to register the population.
Children aged 0 to 5 years, people living with HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, and onchocercitis are also beneficiaries of the first phase of the universal health coverage. All these to reduce the financial burden of about 90% of households in Cameroon reportedly unable to have access to health care due to poverty.
The main objective of this meeting is to sensitize the population of the littoral region about the universal health coverage, to inform them of all the procedure and the activities where we have in this phase.
At this information, sensitization and advocacy meeting in Douala, April 18, 2023, the healthcare officials disclosed that by 2025, 80% of their priority target should have obtained a universal healthcare card. And 38 families in Douala are now scampering for refuge after a demolition galore carried out by the municipal authorities at the Bonamikenge neighborhood in Douala 1. The victims, who were surprised by this rapid decision, cried for justice, saying that they have been rooted out from their ancestral land. Morindi. These disgruntled families are now stranded after they were thrown out of their homes to pave way for a demolition exercise this Wednesday afternoon. Some succeeded to take out their belongings, while others got trapped on the spot. Victims watched helplessly how their houses were being pulled down by cancer caterpillar. They regret they did not take measures to leave despite an earlier quick notice. I'm simply a tenant. We're taken by surprise. It's true we saw a notice on the buildings facing the roads, which are mostly shops. But we did not know private residences were involved in the demolition exercise. We are stranded. We are at Bonamikenge in the Douala 1 council area. The land in question involves 39 families who belong to the Bolo, a Koto ancestry. The names of a former government delegate is cited to have sold the land to the Chinese without the consent of the other 38 families who are also co-owners of the land in question. This man is among the family members claiming justice. He brandishes documents that situates the problem from its origin, ignited by his so-called uncle. He claims after discovering his uncle's malicious intentions, they had to seek the courts 2 years ago for definite solutions, and the case is still pending. Ewudo Ekoto Desiree tells me after these disturbing upheavals, they will unite as a family and strategize in the next move.
And the National Anti-Corruption Body, Canal, has actually delocalized its offices from Yaoundé to Bafoussam for yet another session of what is called the Anti-Corruption Clinic. The objective is to help victims of corrupt practices that denounce them from the public and private sector. Once more, Maureen.
Taking the services of councils closer to the population without corruption is the aim of the Anti-Corruption Clinic set up in Bafoussam in the West region. The objective is to let the people denounce corrupt practices. Unfortunately, the population is afraid of being victimized. The campaign that runs for several days permitted members of the anti-corruption body to listen, exchange and document acts of corruption, be they from the public or private institutions. Suspects cited would be dragged to court. The city mayor is conscious of the effects of corruption. It is an opportunity to sensitize our agents. We take our time to produce press releases and communiques, cautioning the population to pay directly to municipal treasurer. At the launching of the corruption clinic, CONAC officials again encouraged and cautioned the population to denounce corrupt practices.
The
results we have on the field only pushes us to engage in strict follow-up in respect of the laws and again ensuring the structure in charge does its job well. Worthy of note, Cameroon has always occupied top position on the Transparency Perception Corruption Index.
And the bishops of Cameroon have called on Cameroonians to stop killing one another. This appeal was made by the president of the National Episcopal Conference, Archbishop Andrew Nkia, during the opening of the 48th Plenary Assembly of the Bishops in Volier. Beatrice Nkamu.
For some time now, numerous cases of assassination, murder have been making news all over the national territory. Disturbing phenomenon that Catholic bishops in Cameroon are calling for a stop.
Please stop killing one another. We are all citizens of this country. We love our country and we want each one to have a place in this country. The 5th commandment of the Decalogue says, "Thou shalt not kill." And we are begging Cameroonians, stop killing one another. It is only with this mentality that we can each continue to live in peace.
This, as despite the cases in the past, nothing has really come out as clarification on the bizarre and at times barbaric killings. They say the powers that be should make Cameroonians feel the existence of justice in the country. They made it clear that force can never bring peace, rather love and divine intervention.
We all must pray, love one another, and collaborate with each other in dialogue, and that will bring us durable peace. This is very important.
Opportunity to discuss some of the social malaise rocking the country.
The high prices in our country, the lack of peace in our country, and the insecurity. We are going to see how we, the bishops, can collaborate together to make sure that the situation in our country gets better.
This and missions to spread the good news with impact on our daily realities, the issues under discussion at the 48th Plenary Assembly of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon, ongoing at Mvolier in Yaoundé.
Our chief correspondent Beatrice Nkamu reporting there, and Cameroon civil society organizations have rubbished the Cameroon or the country's electoral code, underlining that it is anti-democratic and cannot permit for free and credible elections in the country. And in a press conference that took place today in Yaoundé, they have made a good number of proposals to make for a way forward for credible elections. Let's have the updates with Hyacinth Chia.
Just like the opposition party leaders, civil society organizations describe the Cameroon Electoral Code as a tool full of irregularities and loopholes that cannot guarantee a free, fair, equitable, honest and transparent elections. After over 8 months of intensive review of the code, the 12 civil society organizations have made rich and elaborate proposals to the powers that be for the amendment of the electoral weapon. The activists project Article 3, which states that only the Constitutional Council has the right to proclaim results as problematic, and suggest that Elections Cameroon be given the full power to organize and proclaim the result of different elections within the shortest possible time, as it is done in other countries. The appointment of all 18 members of the Electoral Council by the head of state, they underline, casts doubt on their credibility and neutrality. There are high possibilities of always being loyal to their master, they insist. And as a solution, they propose that opposition parties should have 6 representatives at the electoral board, 6 from the ruling parties and their allies, 3 sitting magistrates on the proposal of the Supreme Court, and 3 from civil society organizations. One of the major limitations of the code they lament is the presidential mandate, and they strongly recommend that a 7-year term be maintained but renewable only once. Another key advocacy is for the minimum voting age, which stands at 20, to be dropped to 18, an age considered by the Constitution as that which permits young Cameroonians have national identity cards and get into the public service, but prohibited to vote by the electoral laws. Presenting the reforms to the press this April 19 in Yaoundé, the working group called on the different stakeholders to join the fight for a consensual electoral code to avoid all post-electoral conflicts, as the nation prepares for municipal and parliamentary elections in 2024 and the presidential polls in 2025.
Thanks very much, Chair. And Cameroon's trade deficit is gradually declining with a recorded 442 billion francs drop in the third quarter of the year 2022. And this has been blamed on a drop or decline in import expenditure and market increase in export earnings. In fact, this is contained in a report made public by the National Institute of Statistics. Now let's get the details with Ambo Gladys Diba.
According to the report on Cameroon's foreign trade published by the National Institute of Statistics on April 10, 2023, the country's trade balance deficit amounted to 701 billion francs CFA within the first 9 months of 2022. This shows a decrease of 442 billion francs CFA, that is, a drop of 38.7% as compared to same period in 2021. The report attributes the improvement on fall in import expenditures, which amounted to 3,188 billion francs CFA for 6.9 million tons of goods, a decline of 7.9% in quantity year on year. The three main products that boosted the value of imports at 13.4% include fertilizers at 43.4%, frozen sea fish at 42.5%, and fuels and lubricants at 65.1%. The data compiled by the National Institute of Statistics also attributes the drop in Cameroon's trade balance deficit to increase in export earnings. It amounted to 2,487 billion francs CFA for 5.9 million tons of goods, recording an increase of 49% in value and 2.1% in quantity. These comparable to the first 3 quarters of 2021. The report states that increase in the export revenue were raised from sales of liquefied natural gas at 17.1%, crude oils at 44.8%, raw cocoa beans at 7.0%, sawn timber at 6.1%, raw cotton at 5.5%, and cocoa paste at 3.2%.
Thanks very much, Ambo Gladys Thibang. Reporting that the third term of the academic year 2022-2023 effectively took off in the Menchum division of the Northwest region on Tuesday, not on Monday, as it was a ghost town in that part of the country. And so teachers and learners were seen very busy on this first day, which is the shortest, or this term, which is the shortest and the most crucial term of the year. The learners will be sitting in for end-of-course exams after that, and the attendance of students and pupils was rated at about 85% on the day of resumption, while that of teachers was rated at about 60%. And so the administration of the institutions thank the officials, the forces of law and order, and other stakeholders for a smooth resumption of the school year. We'll be coming back with updates on that. And that brings us to the end of this edition of the 6:15 News with me, Kejang Henry Atimbe. We thank you graciously for being there with us. And tomorrow is another day. From all of us, it's goodbye.